Ben Tyner, 31, was last seen on January 26, 2019 on the ranch he managed near Merritt, British Columbia. A little over a full day later, an experienced tracker and hunter came across Ben's horse wandering in the wilderness around 15 miles away from Nicola Ranch. She appeared to be very nervous, although she had no injuries. Ben Tyner himself had vanished.
In today's episode, we're investigating the story of what really happened to Ben Tyner.
Ben was born on August 25, 1987 in Florida to his parents Jennifer and Richard. Not long after, the family relocated to Wyoming where they established their own cattle operation. Ranch life was second nature to Ben. Ben has been around horses, dogs, and cattle since he was born. He excelled at horsemanship and was very skilled at leather making and whip making, his father Richard once said. He was often described as a gentle giant. Ben was known for his kindness and willingness to help others. He loved books just as much as he loved being outdoors. On Saturday, January 26, 2019, Ben was seen riding his horse for the last time. Contrary to news reports, his family stated that he had not expressed any plans to leave that day to anyone, which was out of the ordinary. There had been previous discussions of needing to go find strays at some point, but he had never explicitly stated he was going to leave or do anything on that day. He was said to have left in the late afternoon, which according to online sleuths, especially doesn't make sense if he was supposed to be gathering strays. Generally, that's an all-day job in rough country, and you want to leave yourself plenty of daylight to finish the job. At first, no one realized he was missing. It wasn't until early Monday morning that concern began to grow. Around 5:30 a.m., a hunter named Kim Robinson came across Gunny wandering alone on a logging road off Highway 97, roughly 15 miles from the ranch. The horse was fully saddled, but it had a broken rein. It took me about 20 minutes to catch him because he was pretty jumpy. Something happened to him. He only had one rein, but I caught him and I tied him to a tree. What stood out most to Robinson was the lack of tracks. Aside from his own footprints and the marks made by Gunny pacing, he insisted there were no other human or horse tracks leading to or away from the spot. If that observation was accurate, it raises serious questions. If whatever happened to Ben didn't occur there, how did Gunny end up in that location, and who left her there? Some speculated the horse was dropped off someplace as a diversion, but for what? Once Gunny was identified as Ben's horse, a search was launched. Ben's co-worker, Tammy Straya, expressed confusion over the situation. Something might have scared it, but there's no blood, no spur marks, no scratches. It's his horse, and it's a gentle horse. Even more puzzling, his dog Sue was still at home. Ben was known for taking his dog everywhere with him. It was indeed confirmed his dog was left inside his residence along with his phone, which was apparently not normal for him to leave either of them. None of this is adding up. It's a flippin' mystery. It's so horrible. None of us have ate or slept. We're worried sick. No one at the ranch had any idea where Ben might have gone. Law enforcement began searching the area around where Gunny was discovered, then gradually expanded outward. Dozens of search and rescue teams joined in, coming from countless local and surrounding sources and tribes. Search dogs, drones, and helicopters were deployed. Volunteers searched on foot, horseback, and snowmobiles. Ben's family also traveled to British Columbia to assist in the effort. Merritt RCMP Constable Tracy Dunsmore stated, "There is still some question as to how he got up here and whether someone drove him up with a truck and trailer. We haven't located that person yet, so we're looking for that information." In fact, very few details about the investigation have been made public. Little has been shared about the condition of Ben's home when it was searched or whether anything significant was discovered there. It is known that Ben did not have his cell phone with him, but law enforcement has never clearly stated whether the phone was found inside his residence. If it wasn't there, where was it recovered? What is certain is that Ben Tyner was never located. Harsh weather eventually forced the initial search to be called off, though additional searches were conducted in the following weeks and months, all without success. After about a week, the Major Crimes Unit became involved. However, it wasn't until a full 2 years later that authorities publicly stated that they suspected foul play. In 2021, the RCMP announced they believe Ben's disappearance was the result of criminal activity. What specific evidence led them to that conclusion has not been disclosed. BC RCMP spokesperson Corporal Jesse O'Donoghue explained, "To date, numerous investigational avenues have been explored. In order to protect the ongoing investigation, police are unable to share those findings publicly at this time. However, based on those findings, major crime investigators believe that criminality was involved in Ben Tyner's disappearance and that he is the victim of homicide." According to a true crime podcast, an unnamed source came forward with troubling claims. The source alleged that Ben's cell phone was traced using a Find My Phone app to a business in Merritt where it was reportedly found in the possession of a teenage employee. The teen allegedly told investigators that he had purchased the phone from someone else. Law enforcement has never publicly confirmed this account and it remains unverified. Still, if true, it could explain why investigators now strongly suspect foul play. At the same time, it raises another question. If someone was responsible for harming Ben, why sell the phone instead of simply destroying it? This leads us directly into another bizarre piece of the puzzle. The area Ben went missing in is known as a sort of Canadian Bermuda Triangle of sorts called the Kamloops Triangle. There were many more known disappeared people, as many as 5 to 6 others in the area at the time Ben went missing. Marshall, 27, was last seen by his family on November 17, 2019. He planned to go to a storage locker. He told his family he was returning to Calgary but hadn't been seen or heard from since. His burnt-out GMC pickup truck was found by hikers on a remote Forest Service road near Darcy, BC on November 23, 2019. The location was close to the trailhead of the Brian Waddington Hut near Pemberton. When he was last seen, he told the family he would visit his storage locker, and the storage locker key and log show his code was used to enter the facility, and then, about 2 hours later, leave the compound, where he was never seen again. Ryan, 38, and Richard, 37, were last seen alive on July 17, 2019 in Metro Vancouver. A white 2019 Jeep Cherokee was found on July 21st, parked in a wooded area near Logan Lake. The lake is between Kamloops and Merritt. 1 month later, their bodies were found in a rural area north of Spence's Bridge, 80 kilometers away. The RCMP has said there could have been criminal behavior associated with the case, but no further details or cause of death have ever been made public. Ryan, 20, last seen February 17, 2018. The 20-year-old disappeared after leaving a house party at the Sun Peak Ski Resort outside Kamloops. RCMP and hundreds of volunteers searched extensively through the village and its surrounding trails, forests, and mountains, but few clues have ever emerged as to what happened to him. Luke, 48, last seen October 9, 2017. Luke was last seen in Spence's Bridge on October 9, 2017, and his burned-out white 2003 Ford van was found on the Sackham Forest Service Road 20 kilometers from his home the following day. A cadaver dog search of the area in June 2018 turned up nothing. The family erected a billboard on the Trans-Canada Highway in Spence's Bridge asking anyone with information to come forward. Police say they consider the disappearance suspicious. Brother Mark Neville says the family has not been informed of any developments in this case. No leads, no suspect, no news, he said. It's all in the police's hands and up to them. All these disappearances, all around the same time and all in the same area, with no official explanation other than possible organized crime activity. One likely explanation. According to weather reports, it was in the 20s and 30s Fahrenheit in that area on January 26, 2019. If something happened and Ben fell off his horse and hit his head, he could have been knocked unconscious and then died from hypothermia. However, no body was ever discovered and it still wouldn't explain any of the countless other anomalies in the case. In any case, Ben's disappearance devastated his family. Our hearts are shattered and our lives have been thrown into turmoil, his mother Jennifer said. Determined to keep his case in the public eye, the Tyner family has continued raising awareness and has offered multiple thousands of dollars in reward money for information that can help bring answers. Despite years passing, Ben Tyner has never been found, and the full truth of what happened remains unknown.